He started complaining of some tightness in the chest.
It's a parent's worst nightmare. Something happening to your child.
How does this happen to him? What caused this? And it's scary when you think you have to get a heart transplant.
My name is Brett Wallick. I'm from Peoria, Arizona, and I had a heart transplant. Story all started when I was a sophomore in high school. It was my second semester. Just started feeling some tightness in my chest. I was around Thanksgiving, just really kind of just brush it off. Didn't think it was much. And so my dad and I were going to AutoZone trying to get his battery fixed for his car. Sure enough, we were walking back and I was like, man, like I can't breathe. Like I was really walking really slow. My dad's like, let's pick it up. Like let's pick the pace up. And I was like, I can't, man. Like my chest is just, it's not doing it. I can't breathe. He's like, all right, whatever. Like probably just asthma. So we let it go on and it just progressively was getting worse. I wasn't going to the bathroom. I wasn't eating. I wasn't drinking anything. I started seeing my vein in my neck start popping out just while I was just sitting, and it was throbbing, and I'm like, what is going on? It got to the point where I was just like, I don't care anymore about my finals. I just want to feel better. So I brushed off all my finals, just said, screw it. I'm not gonna take them. I'm just gonna answer whatever and hope that I pass. First day of winter break, December 19th, my dad took me to Luke Air Force Base Hospital here in Arizona because he's prior military. So that was our only option to go to. He was like, let's do this. Like, we're not dealing with this anymore. Let's figure it out. I went down there and they're like, all right, let's get you hooked up to a heart monitor. And the second they hooked me up, like, man, your heart rate's at 140 beats per minute. That's like someone full running, like at a full sprint. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you guys talking about? They're like, we're gonna get you an x-ray. And I was like, okay. So I went down to the x-ray and like, man, you need to get to Phoenix Children's right now. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, your heart is 3 times the size. And I was like, what? 3 times the size? Like, yeah, it's enlarged. That's why you're not being able to breathe. Like, you need to get to Phoenix Children's now. And I was like, okay. I was like, super confused. And so like, you can wait for an ambulance or your dad can take you. So my dad ran out and got the car and they wheelchaired me out so I didn't have to walk, and threw me in the car and we zipped to Phoenix Children's. And the second we got there, they came and got me out of the car in the wheelchair and wheeled me in. And within 5-10 minutes of being there, they're like, you're gonna need a heart transplant. And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like, heart transplant, what is that? Like, why? And from that point on, it was just downhill. I started not remembering much. A lot of this was from my parents told me, and I was getting worse. They admitted me and they started administering meds to see if it'll fix it. And it just got worse, progressively worse and worse from December 19th to December 31st. And December 31st, they decided to put in a left ventricular assist device, which takes over for my left ventricle. Because that was what was being hit the most. And so they threw that in, and that was my bridge to transplant. That was what was gonna prepare me for my transplant. And I was like, all right, well, this is what it's gotta be. It was released, and I was actually the first kid released with the device that I had at Phoenix Children's. They'd never done that. Sure enough, March 22nd rolls around and the White Sox, Chicago White Sox invited me out to a spring training game. They're like, hey, we want you to come out and hit a home run for life and tell your story. And I was like, sure, let's do it. So I get out there and they put me out on the field and I had to hit a home run, which I really wasn't able to do, obviously. But afterwards, I went and high-fived all the White Sox and went across the field and high-fived all the Giants. And the crowd was going crazy, and I was going up in the crowd and everybody's like, keep the faith, you'll get the heart. We're praying for you, don't worry about it, like you'll be fine. And I was like, man, like people are rooting me on. And so I felt really good that day. And around that night, around like 11 o'clock at night, I was just about to go to bed and we get a call from my transplant coordinator. Like, she's like, hey, you guys might have a heart, be ready. And then click, gone, she was gone. At that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, like I gotta prepare. I was in shock. I'm like, I don't know what to do or think or say. About an hour or two later, they called, they said, yeah, you guys need to be here at 4 a.m. We're gonna get you prepped and ready to go for this. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like this is happening. 4 a.m. rolled around and I jumped in the car, went down there, and sure enough, they got me all prepped, and around by 8 o'clock, I was ready to go. And they said, here, you sign this line and this happens. And I was like, man, like this is my life now. Like this is gonna change me. I signed it, and sure enough, here I am 6 years later, almost 6.5 years post-transplant. Thankfully, no complications, just been super healthy, just trying to eat right and exercise and take my pills. I had a lot of fears going through it. I thought, will this last, or what's going to happen? And they always reassured me that as long as you do your take your pills is the biggest thing. Eat the right food and exercise, it can last a lifetime. There's people that are out there now 30 years after transplant with old medicine, and I'm on modern medicine. Who knows what the what the future holds? And so it just makes me more confident and push me out of that fear that I'm going to be okay for a long time and be able to live my life. I definitely am thankful for my donor. For all the people out there that are afraid to be an organ donor, don't be. It saves lives, and it doesn't hurt. It's free. You just sign up. You can give something to someone else, and that's a huge thing. And I know many factors come into play when it comes to that, and I totally understand. But I always encourage people to become an organ donor, and to know that doing this story and telling people that there's hope. There's always light at that end of the tunnel, and to not be scared. And if you are scared, you have the right to be, and you shouldn't be ashamed of it. But to know that it's not the end, and that you can push past those fears that you have and come out where I am. I'm very thankful to be where I'm at right now and be in the position that I'm in. And I love being able to share this with people. So I hope that people get some light from this, or it inspires them to do something, maybe go become an organ donor or help out for the people that are waiting, because there's a lot of people waiting. So I really encourage people to do that, and I hope that by sharing this, it's helped you in some way, or others that you've shared it with. So I hope that this helped.
So I hope you enjoyed Brett's story of his heart transplant. I think it's a really important story to tell, because Brett was given a second chance at life, and that's not many people get to say that. And that leads me to my next point of why I think this is so important, and what you should take away from this is becoming a donor. I think we should all at least look into and consider the facts that being a donor is actually quite helpful. And as you saw in Brett's story, it literally saved his life. So I think we should all at least look into it, and I have left a good list of resources, information, and website down below in the description about how you can register and learn more information about becoming a donor. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to see more videos that I've made, there will be a playlist down below and on screen. If you can, please subscribe. That also really helps out as well. That's pretty much all I have to say. I will see you guys soon.